I remember staring at my wrist during a torrential downpour halfway through a half marathon, only to realize my brand new, overly expensive smartwatch had completely died. Not only did it lose my pace, but it also leaked water despite claiming to be highly waterproof. I spent weeks researching, fell for flashy marketing, and still wasted my money on a piece of junk. Choosing the right smartwatch shouldn't feel like an expensive gamble. That is exactly why I spent the last few months rigorously testing the top contenders on the market. Keep watching, because the number one spot completely redefined what I expect from a wearable. 10. Amazfit Bip 6. When I first strapped the Amazfit to my wrist, I was genuinely hoping for a budget-friendly miracle. The display is adequately bright for indoor use, and the watch itself is incredibly lightweight, making it comfortable enough to wear to bed without noticing it. It tries to present a sleek, modern aesthetic that mimics much more expensive devices, which initially caught my eye. The silicone strap feels decent against the skin, and the initial setup process through their companion app was straightforward enough, taking only a few minutes to get the watch paired with my phone. Digging into the features, the Bip 6 promises an impressive array of health tracking metrics, including continuous heart rate monitoring, blood oxygen levels, and a vast library of sports modes. I took it out for a few casual neighborhood jogs and a couple of cycling sessions to see how it handled basic activity tracking. It does manage to log your steps and provide a general overview of your daily movement, and the companion app lays out this data in a somewhat digestible format. The battery life is also pushed heavily in their marketing, boasting weeks of use on a single charge. However, my real-world testing quickly revealed the cracks in this budget facade. The interface is frustratingly sluggish. Swiping through menus feels like walking through molasses, and the watch frequently failed to register my taps on the first try. The fitness tracking accuracy is wildly inconsistent, completely losing my heart rate during a moderate intensity gym workout and drastically undercounting my running distance because the GPS connection kept dropping. It became incredibly irritating to finish a strenuous workout only to find the watch had paused itself or crashed entirely halfway through. 9. Fitbit Google Ace LTE. I approached this device with a mixture of curiosity and skepticism. Designed primarily with younger users and active families in mind, the watch features a playful, durable design with bumpers that can clearly withstand a beating. I handed it off to my nephew for a weekend and wore it myself for a few days to get a feel for how it handles everyday bumps, drops, and scrapes. The build quality is undeniably solid, and the screen is protected well enough to survive the rough and tumble of an active lifestyle. The headline feature here is the LTE connectivity, which is supposed to offer peace of mind by allowing location tracking, calling, and messaging without needing a paired smartphone nearby. I tested the calling feature from a crowded park, and the audio quality was surprisingly decent for a device of this size and intended demographic. It also incorporates Fitbit's gamified approach to fitness, utilizing interactive watch faces and movement goals that genuinely do a good job of encouraging you to get off the couch and stay active throughout the day. Unfortunately, the integration of LTE comes with severe compromises that make this watch incredibly frustrating to live with on a daily basis. Having the cellular connection turned on absolutely obliterates the battery life, forcing me to charge the device completely halfway through the day just to keep it alive. Furthermore, the mandatory subscription required to actually use the LTE features makes this a surprisingly expensive investment over time, especially considering the software interface feels locked down and restrictive compared to standard smartwatches. As an expensive novelty for keeping tabs on a child, the Fitbit Google Ace LTE sort of does the job, but as a dedicated smartwatch, it falls entirely flat. The battery anxiety alone is enough to ruin the experience, completely undermining the purpose of having a reliable communication device on your wrist. 8. Garmin vívoactive 5. The Garmin vívoactive 5 represents a significant step up in overall quality, finally introducing a beautiful AMOLED display to this specific lineup. When I first booted it up, the rich colors and deep blacks immediately made a fantastic impression, especially coming from older Garmin models with memory in pixel screens. The watch is incredibly lightweight with its aluminum bezel and fiber-reinforced polymer case, making it one of the most comfortable devices I have worn during both intense weightlifting sessions and long, sweaty runs. Garmin's robust suite of health and fitness tools is where this watch truly shines in everyday use. I relied heavily on the body battery energy monitor, which surprisingly accurately reflected my fatigue levels after a poor night's sleep or a heavy training day. The sleep tracking has been noticeably improved, and I found the new Sleep Coach feature genuinely helpful, as it provides actionable advice rather than just throwing raw data at you. The GPS accuracy during my outdoor runs locked on quickly and provided reliable pacing metrics. Despite the beautiful screen and excellent fitness tracking, there are a few noticeable omissions that hold the vívoactive 5 back from true greatness. For reasons I cannot understand, Garmin decided to remove the barometric altimeter, meaning this watch cannot track the number of stairs you climb or accurate elevation changes during a hike. The interface, while functional, still feels a bit utilitarian and lacks the fluid, modern animations you would expect from a smartwatch at this price point, making it feel slightly dated when navigating through menus. Even with those drawbacks, the vívoactive 5 is a remarkably solid choice for anyone who prioritizes fitness over flashy smart features. The battery life is fantastic, easily lasting me around 10 days on a single charge even with regular workout tracking, and the screen set to a reasonable brightness. 7. Samsung Galaxy Watch 7. Slipping the Samsung Galaxy Watch 7 onto my wrist felt like returning to a familiar, premium friend. The design language hasn't changed drastically from previous generations, but the subtle refinements in the casing and the sapphire crystal glass make it feel incredibly durable and high-end. I immediately appreciated the vibrant, responsive Super AMOLED display, which remains completely visible even under the harsh glare of direct midday sunlight. The new Exynos W1000 chip inside makes an immediately noticeable difference in day-to-day performance. Samsung has poured a massive amount of effort into refining their bioactive sensor array, and my testing reflected those improvements. I compared its heart rate monitoring to a dedicated chest strap during high-intensity interval training, and the Galaxy Watch 7 managed to keep up with rapid heart rate spikes much better than its predecessors. The FDA-approved sleep apnea detection is a brilliant addition, and the general sleep tracking provided me with incredibly detailed breakdowns of my sleep stages and overnight blood oxygen levels. While the performance is buttery smooth and the health sensors are top-notch, battery life remains the Achilles heel of the Galaxy Watch lineup. I was forced to place it on a magnetic charging puck every single night, and if I used the GPS for a long run while streaming music over LTE, I sometimes found myself needing a top-up by the early evening. The watch also heavily favors the Samsung ecosystem, restricting some of its best features, like the ECG and blood pressure monitoring, exclusively to users paired with a Samsung Galaxy smartphone. If you can look past the daily charging routine and you already own a Samsung phone, the Galaxy Watch 7 is an incredibly powerful daily companion. The integration with Wear OS provides access to a massive library of useful apps, and navigating the interface using the digital bezel is an absolute joy. 6. Garmin Forerunner 165. I have always been a fan of dedicated running watches, and taking the Garmin Forerunner 165 out onto the track was an absolute delight. This watch brings a stunningly bright AMOLED display to Garmin's entry-level running series, fundamentally changing the user experience. The lightweight plastic build might not scream premium luxury, but it is exactly what you want when you are sweating through a grueling 10K run. The physical buttons are perfectly tactile, allowing me to easily start, stop, and lap my workouts without fumbling with a sweaty touchscreen. As a training tool, the Forerunner 165 punches way above its weight class. It provides essential running dynamics, wrist-based running power, and the deeply insightful morning report, which quickly became my favorite way to start the day. I heavily utilized the daily suggested workouts feature, which intelligently adapted to my recovery levels and kept my training balanced without requiring me to overthink my programming. The GPS accuracy is remarkably precise, consistently plotting my routes through dense city streets without any noticeable drift. The compromise for this laser-focused athletic performance is a distinct lack of advanced smartwatch functionality. While it handles basic notifications well, you are not going to find a sprawling app store, advanced voice assistance, or the ability to take phone calls directly from your wrist. The user interface, while improved by the new display, is heavily text-based and occasionally requires clicking through several submenus just to adjust a simple setting or check a specific health metric. For runners and dedicated athletes, however, those minor smartwatch complaints completely fade into the background. The battery life easily carried me through a full week of heavy training, completely eliminating the battery anxiety I experience with standard smartwatches. 5. Garmin vívoactive 6. Upgrading to the Garmin vívoactive 6 was a revelation in how much a company can improve upon an already solid foundation. The moment I unboxed it, the refined stainless steel bezel and the slimmer profile immediately caught my attention, elevating the watch from a sporty accessory to something you can confidently wear to a formal dinner. The screen real estate has been maximized, pushing the vibrant AMOLED display right to the edges, which makes reading notifications and checking workout stats at a glance incredibly easy and enjoyable. Garmin has packed an incredible amount of advanced sensor technology into this generation. The inclusion of on-demand ECG readings and highly accurate skin temperature sensors provided a holistic view of my daily health that I previously only expected from much more expensive flagship devices. I spent several weeks testing its automated activity tracking, and it flawlessly recognized when I transitioned from walking to a brisk jog, automatically logging the data into the Garmin Connect app without me having to push a single button. Even with all this new technology, the user experience occasionally stumbles when it tries to act too much like a traditional smartwatch. Replying to text messages using the on-screen keyboard is still a bit cumbersome on a screen this size, and the third-party app selection remains incredibly sparse compared to Wear OS or Watch OS devices. I also noticed that the new brighter display algorithms can be slightly aggressive, sometimes momentarily blinding me if I check the time in a pitch-black room before the ambient sensor adjusted. Regardless of those minor software quirks, the vívoactive 6 strikes an absolutely beautiful balance between high-end fitness tracking and elegant daily wearability. The battery optimization is nothing short of sorcery, consistently delivering up to 12 days of usage, even with the advanced health monitoring features left running continuously. 4. Samsung Galaxy Watch 8. The Samsung Galaxy completely blew me away the first time I powered it on. Samsung has clearly been listening to user feedback, as this iteration introduces a screen that is astonishingly bright and vibrant, cutting through harsh glare like it isn't even there. The haptic feedback has been drastically improved. Every turn of the digital bezel and every incoming notification feels crisp, precise, and deeply satisfying. The watch feels incredibly substantial and well-machined, sitting comfortably on the wrist despite housing a massive battery and a complex array of internal sensors. The artificial intelligence integration in the health tracking suite is where the Watch 8 truly separates itself from the competition. After analyzing my sleep patterns and daily activity for a week, the watch began providing highly personalized, actionable advice that legitimately helped me manage my stress levels and improve my recovery times. The continuous blood pressure calibration has been streamlined, and the heart rate tracking proved to be flawlessly accurate, matching my clinical-grade equipment beat for beat during intensive weightlifting and cardio sessions. While Samsung has finally cracked the code on multi-day battery life for their flagship line, the charging speed itself leaves a little to be desired. On the rare occasions I did drain the battery completely, it took noticeably longer to get back to a full charge compared to some of its fast-charging competitors. Additionally, while Wear OS 6 is remarkably fluid, the watch still stubbornly pushes you towards Samsung's proprietary apps for health and payments, requiring a bit of tedious manual configuration if you prefer using Google's suite of services. Those minor inconveniences aside, the Galaxy Watch 8 is a masterful piece of technology that represents the absolute pinnacle of what a Samsung wearable can be. 3. OnePlus Watch 3. I did not expect the OnePlus Watch 3 to impress me as much as it did, but it absolutely took me by surprise. Crafted from aerospace-grade titanium, it feels incredibly light yet virtually indestructible, surviving accidental scrapes against brick walls and metal door frames without a single blemish. The design is sleek, minimalist, and undeniably premium, drawing compliments from friends who assumed I was wearing a much more expensive mechanical timepiece. The incredibly responsive display curves seamlessly into the chassis, making swipe gestures feel incredibly smooth and natural. The secret weapon of the OnePlus Watch 3 is its brilliant dual-engine architecture, which seamlessly switches between a low-power processor for background tasks and a high-performance chip for active use. I tested their massive 120-hour battery life claim by wearing it constantly, tracking daily runs, tracking my sleep, and leaving notifications turned on. To my absolute astonishment, it easily powered through 5 full days of heavy usage before begging for a charger, completely eliminating the daily charging anxiety associated with full-featured smartwatches. The software experience does make a few minor sacrifices to achieve this legendary battery life. While it runs Wear OS flawlessly, some background syncing processes are slightly delayed, meaning weather updates or email notifications occasionally took an extra second to populate on the screen compared to other flagship devices. Furthermore, the companion app on the smartphone, while clean and easy to navigate, lacks the deeply granular historical health data analysis that you would find in the Garmin or Apple ecosystems. However, the sheer convenience of having a lightning-fast, premium titanium smartwatch that only needs to be charged once a working week is completely game-changing. The fitness tracking is highly accurate, the on-wrist call quality is excellent, and the fast charging technology gives you a full day's worth of power in just 10 minutes on the park. Two, Google Pixel Watch 4. The Google is the exact moment Google finally perfected their wearable formula. The pebble-like design has been refined to sheer perfection, offering a stunning edge-to-edge display that makes the watch face look like a floating drop of water on your wrist. Coming in multiple sizes was a necessary upgrade, and the larger 45mm casing fit my wrist beautifully, providing ample screen real estate without feeling bulky. The new proprietary band mechanism feels incredibly secure, and swapping bands for different occasions takes only a fraction of a second. Powered by the latest Tensor wearable chip, the fluidity of this device is absolutely unparalleled in the Android space. Launching apps, dictating text messages to the Google Assistant, and pulling up turn-by-turn navigation happens instantly, without a single frame drop or stutter. The deep, native integration with Fitbit Premium provides an incredibly rich, holistic overview of my health, and the newly upgraded multi-path heart rate sensor tracked my high-intensity interval workouts with flawless, unshakable accuracy. While the Pixel Watch 4 is nearly perfect, it does heavily rely on you being fully immersed in the Google ecosystem to get the most out of it. If you use third-party calendar or reminder apps, getting them to sync perfectly with the watch faces can occasionally be a bit finicky. Additionally, while the battery life has been vastly improved to comfortably last a full 24 hours with the always-on display active, it still falls short of the multi-day endurance offered by some of the other premium watches on this list. Ultimately, if you use an Android phone, the Pixel Watch 4 provides the cleanest, smartest, and most aesthetically pleasing experience available. The way it seamlessly manages notifications, controls smart home devices, and tracks complex health metrics makes it feel like a true extension of your smartphone rather than just an accessory. 1. Apple Watch Series 11. Apple has completely redesigned the chassis, resulting in a remarkably thin, elegant profile that sits flush against the skin, paired with a massive, impossibly bright display that curves dramatically over the edges. I strapped it on and was immediately blown away by the new magnetic band system, which not only looks incredibly sleek, but frees up internal space for a significantly larger battery and groundbreaking new health sensors. The health tracking capabilities of the Series 11 have genuinely moved from fitness tracking into the realm of medical science. I extensively tested the new non-invasive blood pressure monitoring and the highly anticipated blood glucose trend analysis, comparing them against traditional medical devices. The accuracy and the way the health app clearly visualizes this data without causing unnecessary alarm is nothing short of revolutionary, providing daily, life-saving insights that simply do not exist on any other consumer wearable on the planet. Performance-wise, the on-device Siri integration is mind-bendingly fast. Because voice processing happens locally, I could set complex timers, log my dietary intake, or reply to messages instantaneously, even when I completely disconnected the watch from my iPhone and had no cellular service. While it is obviously locked entirely into the Apple ecosystem, meaning Android users are completely left out in the cold, WatchOS 12 is so unbelievably fluid and intuitive that it practically justifies switching smartphone platforms just to use it. The most surprising triumph of the Apple Watch Series 11 is that it finally shattered the daily charging barrier. Through incredible chip efficiency, I consistently achieved a solid 36 hours of heavy use, including GPS workout tracking, sleep monitoring, and constant notifications, all with the display permanently on. It offers flawless performance, life-changing health technology, and stunning design without compromise.